Welcome to the With Clarity and Purpose podcast with your host, Janet Borrego. Each week, I bring you an inspiring person or message to empower you to live life on your terms so you can be who you want to be, do what you are meant to do, and have the life you deserve to have. We will provide you with practical and cutting-edge approaches to continue getting clarity and direction on your path, mastering your mindset, and gaining confidence to tap into your inner wisdom so you can live on purpose. If you're seeking to boost your clarity in any decision you have been wanting to make or any situation that you're going through and you keep asking yourself, is this the right decision for me? Is this the right approach for me? Even, is this the right path for me? I want you to go right now to my show notes because I have prepared a free and simple 3 questions framework for you to go through that by answering these questions, I promise you'll feel a lot more clear and you'll start creating fulfilling outcomes out of the decisions you're making. Just go right now, or you can go to ybcoaching.com/clarity. Enjoy the episode. Welcome to another episode of With Clarity and Purpose. And I am beyond excited for today's episode because Gabriela Mendoza Cadavid is here. Oh yes. My God, she's amazing. I'm just so excited. How are you doing, Gabriela?
I'm doing fine. You're the best. I'm doing really good. And I'm excited. I'm excited to be on this podcast.
I love that. Thank you so much. I've been following Gabriela for a while now, and I love everything she puts out there into social media, into YouTube. She has her own YouTube channel. Gabriela is a self-publishing author coach, and she's also a best-selling coach. She has a couple of books already in Amazon. And today we are going to talk all about it because I need to confess something. I'm being super selfish with this episode, Gabriela. I want you all your knowledge for me, but I know our listeners will be so excited to learn more about you too.
That's so sweet. Yeah, I'm really excited. I have my books here ready for you.
Yes, I cannot wait
about it. So let's bring it on.
Let's bring it on.
Yes.
So I always ask all my podcast guests to give a little bit background about yourself. Where were you born? What's your heritage? What do you do right now? How do you help your clients? Just like a quick overview.
Yes. Okay. So I was born and raised in Miami, Florida, and my parents are from Colombia. So I still have a lot of family in Colombia, and we go there but 2 to 3 times a year. I mean, this was pre-COVID. Ever since COVID, it's kind of, it
has changed. Yes.
Yeah. It's changed. But no, I love Colombia. So I work as a speech therapist. I work with children and for part-time, and then other part-time is I own a business where I help aspiring authors, specifically coaches, speakers, and bloggers who want to write books to build their credibility because they've come to me for that. And I just love writing. I've been writing for a really, really long time. And then that's when I decided, let me write a book. And it went really well. And it's like the best decision I ever made.
I love that. I'll be your future clients because writing a book is somewhere there in my journey, my friend. That's why I'm so excited to be here.
They always say that everyone should write a book.
Right? Why not? And when I think of a book, it's such a great vehicle really to share a unique story that will help you uplift the world in any form that you decide to. So that's beautiful that you dedicate yourself to this. How did you gain clarity? How did you know this was your purpose? How do you know this is the thing that fulfills you?
Okay, so it's a little bit of a selfish, at first it started selfish.
Okay,
so
I love
I'll
it.
be honest. Yeah. I'll be honest. So it was years ago. I was just thinking, that you go down the rabbit hole on YouTube University, and you're looking on YouTube, and I just wanted to find ways to make income, like another stream of income. And then I thought, oh, YouTube. Let me do a YouTube. I had this other channel. I wasn't really passionate about that. And so as I was doing YouTube, I was like, I just started seeing more things about blogging and writing books and content, just content about writing. And ever since I was like 13, like very, very young girl, I've been writing songs. Like my thing was writing songs and then, writing a diary and writing a blog. So I came across a couple videos of, writing a book and how it's easy and you can self-publish it and all that stuff. So I figured, why not? Let me try. So the beginning was more selfish because the beginning was more, let me just get another stream of income. Once what gained my clarity for me was seeing what happened after I had published it, the results, right? So when this was the first book that I self-published. It's for children. And when I self-published it, I saw that it did really well. It became a best-selling in its category and number new release. And on top of that, I loved it. Like that's what I'm passionate about, writing and talking to my family. So talking to my family and just journaling about it. I would say that's really what gave me clarity, like kind of like the validation all in one. And that's when I was like, wait, this is it. Like this is it. This is what I want to do.
Oh my God. So you wrote your first book. What's the name of the book so everyone knows about it?
Yeah, the name of the first book is called 10 Jungle Friends. And it's available on Amazon. It's a children's book. And the second book is the Spanish version of it. So, Diez Amigos de la Jungla.
I love it. Okay, so you were journaling, and I love that you mentioned that since you were a child, you just loved getting into writing songs, because I always tell my coaching clients and my students, so many times we find what we are passionate about in our childhood. So you just naturally were inclined to writing, and that's it.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. I remember, I mean, I don't know how you grew up or if you ever did this with your family, but I would be with my sister and we would write songs and we would practice our performance. And then when it was done, it was ready, we would have my parents sit in the living room, my grandma, my grandfather, and just sing and dance. And I don't know, I just loved it. And yeah, it's really funny too, because most of my lyrics are for rapping. So.
Oh my God. Okay. I'm gonna be like, Gabriela, give us some rap here in the podcast episode.
Yeah, I mean, I have one by memory, so it's I'm ready for that.
Okay, that's bonus, everyone here.
Yeah. So it's true. What you say is true. I do think that your passion comes from, what you liked back in childhood. Because I feel like when you force things and when your purpose becomes just to make money, it doesn't really come from the heart. So I agree with you on that.
I love that. I used to write a lot of poetry and poems, but again, it was this same thing of writing and reading. So that's why I feel passionate about what you do and how I see so much value in you doing what you do and how people can get value from that. Mm-hmm. So you decided to write your first book. I mean, how was the process between that idea and you actually writing it? How was that process for you?
Yeah, so I knew that I wanted to write a book. I didn't know what kind of book.
Yeah.
So my first book was honestly inspired because I work with children. So I knew that I can get into their headspace, because in order to write a children's book, you have to think like a child. And that's what I tell my clients who want to write children books. So the idea of it, I would say it took a good 6 months to actually write it. So I had an idea for it a really long time, and it took me like 6 months to actually execute it because, I was nervous. Like I wasn't sure. I was just having doubts. And so when I find the actual writing it, the execution and all that, it didn't take that long, maybe a month. It really didn't take that long. Yeah. And everything else is what took longer, the illustrations, because you have to hire someone to do the illustrations. You have to wait for them. You have to wait for your editor. You have to wait for them to bring it back. Then you have to work with a graphic designer. And like, it all becomes like a ripple effect.
Yeah.
So the writing it down portion didn't take long. What took long was more me executing it and waiting till the people I hired to help me do everything um put it together for me. So
Wow. And I mean, I love that you explained that. And you consistently talk in your Instagram about self-publishing
yes.
versus using a publisher. That's how
Yes.
it's said. I'm like, I don't know
Yes.
what I'm talking about.
No,
So
that's fine. So a tradition, you can say traditional publisher or
yeah.
just publisher agency. There's so many words for it. Yeah, because there's so many misconceptions for it. There are a lot of aspiring authors who want to traditionally publish for an X amount of reasons. I would say from my experience having conversations, like the top reason would be because they get an advanced like check.
Yeah.
Um, but what many aspiring authors don't realize is that, and this isn't to bring anyone down and this isn't to say that it's impossible, but it is harder for your
Yeah,
book to get
totally.
recognized and for it to get traditionally published because you get a lot of rejections, and then people get discouraged. So I know people who wait for months, years of getting their book published. And so my philosophy is, I always tell my clients, take control of the book that you created. You want full control for it. So self-publish first. And when they see how well it's doing, if it's doing well, let's think positive here. Then a traditional publisher will look at that book on, let's say,
Yes.
Amazon, and they'd be like, let me pick this book up. Let me contact this person. So I always say that at least for your first book, you should self-publish your book first. Mhm.
I love that. I was thinking of Young Pueblo. You know Young Pueblo?
No, I don't actually.
Oh my God, I'm going to share his information. So he's a super famous author and he writes kind of in prose, kind of like poems, like short snippets. You have
Okay.
probably seen him in Instagram. Like everyone shares his stuff. And at the beginning, he just started writing and posting in Instagram, and his Instagram did so well that then traditional publishers started reaching out to him.
That's
To publish
amazing.
an I was like, wow, that's
That's
like amazing.
It probably makes sense that I'm not aware of him because I don't really read poems or
Yeah,
any,
yeah, yeah. I'll
but
share with you.
yeah, no, for sure, definitely. After this call, because I am very curious. But yeah, and he or she is not the only one. There's like so many people go through that. They self-publish and then it gets picked up like that. A lot of
Wow.
famous authors. Uh-huh.
So
That's what
how
people don't know, because there's so many misconceptions out there. So
exactly? I didn't know. I was like, I need to talk to Gabriela because I need to be informed, whenever I
yeah.
make this decision. So before, did you know anything about this? Where do you learn about all of this information that you
Yeah.
have?
No, I did not.
Wow.
About self-publishing, I had absolutely no idea. I just knew that I wanted to get my book out there and I didn't know how. And so that's when I did research. I didn't, how I learned is because I myself hired an author coach. And so
I
they
love
told
that.
me how to do everything. Yeah, because for me, time is money. And
Mhm.
yeah, I just rather, like I understand that there's free content on YouTube and on Google and all that stuff, but at the end of the day, it's free content for a reason. So like paid content is a lot more, it's better.
Structured,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
intentional. And
Yeah,
I
you
believe
get things
coaches need
done.
coaches. If you want to continue growing, you got to hire a coach or someone that will help you get there. So I love that you
Yeah.
did that.
Yeah. So I didn't know. I didn't know.
Okay, so you hire a coach, that person gave you the roadmap that later on you refine for yourself and your
Yes.
services. So if someone wants to write a book and let's say they decide to self-publish, what is the first thing they need to start thinking about or start executing? How does that work?
Well, first I would ask them, do you know what you want to write about? Because
Yeah,
some people don't sometimes, or some people have so many ideas that they feel overwhelmed and they're not sure which topic they should write about. Because I do believe that your first topic should be niched down, just like anything else, right? Just like
yeah,
your content, just like your podcast, for example,
like
like if it's
business or
niched down,
anything.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So I would say, what do you want to write? Once they figure that out, then we go to researching. And I get but a lot of people don't know that because in order for your book to be successful, to be an Amazon bestseller, if we're talking about KDP, for example, KDP is Amazon. And you need to do the research, like categories, keywords, target audience, all that stuff in order to get there. And that's what people don't understand. And they leave it to the very end, and then they just don't do it well. And so that would be the first. It would be, what do you want to write about, the research, and then the outline. And from then on forth, we go forward. So I would say definitely, if anyone is listening to this or watching this, pro tip, do not write before you research.
Okay, I love it. So do not write before you research. And the research is about the keywords, maybe the competition, like all of those factors.
Yes, your book competitors, your genre, keywords, categories, target audience, all of that fun stuff.
Interesting. I love it.
Yeah, and in the course that I have, because I know earlier before we started recording, we were talking about digital products, and like I have a course for it, and I make sure that I'm very detailed, because a lot of people get confused, and there's a whole Excel spreadsheet on it, and like what exactly to write. Here's where you do this, because later on, when you publish onto KDP, that's where you're going to implement everything that you researched.
Got it. Okay. Got it. Okay. So you have the outline, right? And how do they execute the writing? Do you recommend like dedicating 30 minutes a day, 1 hour a day? How does that work for someone?
Yeah. So to answer that question, it just depends on the person, because I've had clients who have multiple jobs, or they're a mom, or they're a full-time dad, or they have they're able to work on it full-time, on the book full-time. So it depends on everyone. I would say that at least write 3 times a week for at least 3 to 5 hours. I know that's a lot, but it depends with their launch date. If someone wants to be realistic and say they want to launch their book in 3 to 4 months, I would say, all right, you got to hustle and you need to write for real. But if someone wants to say, I want to launch my book in 6 months to, I don't know, 10 months, then, you can take your time a little bit. It just depends on a lot. It's really hard to answer that question, because, how long is the book? What kind of book are you writing? Are you writing a children's book, or are you writing, a bigger book? So it just really all depends. And I always say that when it comes to writing, when you're writing, your first draft, your second draft, whatever draft it is that you're doing, make sure that you have a planner with you, because you want to hold yourself accountable, and you want to write down, these are the days that I'm writing. Did I do this? Let's say I had a family function, so I couldn't do it. All right, let me do it tomorrow. Let me see if I can do 2 hours tomorrow. It's really good to be organized about it and to hold yourself accountable.
Yeah, I love that. Okay, cool. You have given so much amazing information. I'm so excited. So you have the outline, you have defined your approach to execute. Is there any limit to pages that people need to be thinking about, or they just start writing and then they refine later on?
That's where the research comes in, because it's really good. Yeah, that's why it's good to research your competitors, because you want your book to be unique, right? I'm not saying you have to copy your book competitors at all. I'm just saying gain inspiration. For example, if you're going to write a children's book for a toddler that's 3 years old up to 7 years old, an illustration children's book, okay? You're not going to write a 100-page children's book. Do you get what I'm saying?
Oh, yes, totally.
Some of them are just pretty obvious. So, again, it just depends on the book that you're writing. I am a fan of series. So I do challenge my clients and people that I know to write short series, because the more books you have out there, the more income you'll make.
Oh, that makes a lot of sense. Yes. The more diversified it is too.
Exactly. So let's take this book, for example. This is a lot of tips I'm giving everyone. So,
I know. I'm and I tend to be granular at times. So sorry for the very specific.
Oh, no. It's fine. So let's say we take this book, for example. This is my latest book that I self-published. This is a generalized book, but I did it on purpose. Yes, I did it on purpose because the chapters that are in it. So let's say the name of the book chapters. Yeah. The name of the book is Guidebook into Your 20s, How to Survive Being a Young Adult When Feeling Lost.
I love it.
Yeah. So let's say these chapters, right? For example, my plan is to write a series for them, but the series would be focusing one book per chapter, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So it's this will be the introduction. And then, so that's my plan. We'll see how it goes. I have so many ideas in my head. That's the problem.
We are similar on that sense. I'm let me prioritize everything that I'm thinking right now.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
I love it. Okay, cool. So you just write all these things. Now let's talk about the team members, because you mentioned, oh my God, you mentioned the editing, the digital creator person of the images. I don't even know the name. So who are the who are the key people in this team to make your dream of having a book a reality?
Yeah. If you're self-publishing, number one, an editor, because you want to make sure that your book is bomb.com, no grammatical errors or anything like that. And also a graphic designer. So I would say an editor and a graphic designer would be your key team members that you'd want to hire. You don't need to hire an illustrator unless you want to. If you're writing a children's illustrations book, then yes, definitely hire an illustrator. And I do have some clients who choose not to write their books. So we also hire ghostwriters for them. I'm not sure if you're familiar with ghostwriters.
No, tell me more about that.
Okay. So a ghostwriter is basically someone who you hire that writes the book for you. But there's a lot of misconceptions with that because people sometimes feel ashamed if they hire a ghostwriter because then they think, oh, a ghostwriter wrote this for me, so I'm not really the author. But that's not true because you're working with the ghostwriter. So essentially, the idea is that you're writing an outline. So let's say, I don't know, give me an idea of a book.
Okay, let me see. I always talk about the immigrants being the perfect example of entrepreneurship. You know, immigrants as the entrepreneurs of the
I
world.
love that. Yeah, I love that. So let's talk about that, the immigrants, right?
Yes.
The entering into like entrepreneurial, all that world and stuff, you would write the outline, right? Let's just say you're doing bullet points. You know, this is what I would like to talk about here. Just it's a simple outline like to yourself. And all you would do is send it to the ghostwriter and they write it. They write the book for you. Now, essentially, you would work with them, you know, so you can work with them and say, let's say you're my ghostwriter and I'm hiring you. I would be like, can you please send me just a chapter each week so that I can look into it? And maybe I want to make changes and like give it to you so we can revise it. So you're working with the ghostwriter. It depends. Some people choose to just, they literally be like, I want to write about dog training, just write it. I don't even care what it's about. And you know, hire the ghostwriter, they do it, and that's it, bam, which is fine. But yeah, so it's essentially what a ghostwriter does. And there's a lot of people who do it. A lot of people. I mean, think about celebrities. Yeah, it's celebrities, influencers, just people who don't have the time, who have the means, to, you know, financially to do so.
Because in my mind, you know, when I think of a ghostwriter, in my mind is like, how are they going to know my stories? How are they going to know my tone of conversation? Like all of these things. But I guess.
Yeah, exactly. Which you don't have to, you know, because let's say if I were writing a book like that, you know, a story about me that was more personal to me, I probably wouldn't want to write a ghostwriter because they wouldn't understand my you know, my own experiences. And but I know there are ways to do it. There's so many ways to do it, and there are so many people who have done it. It's just really a matter of, do you want to or not, you know? And I have had some clients who do. I have 50% of the clients want to hire a ghostwriter and then 50% of them don't. And I just want to lay it out there and say that there's no shame in hiring a ghostwriter because there are so many limiting beliefs and like imposter syndrome because of it.
It makes total sense. You're just delegating the writing piece, but you're co-creating with the ghostwriter. I love that. Okay, so that gives you so much more clarity about the ghostwriter. So the ghostwriter, the editor, and then the digital person that I always forget the name.
Graphic designer.
Graphic designer.
Yes, graphic designer.
And that's for the book cover kind of thing, the graphic design.
Yeah, exactly. The graphic designer does well, if you're doing a paperback or a hardcover, they do the front and the back. If you're doing an ebook, then just the front is fine because, you know, people read it off like tablet or la computadora, the computer or the phone.
The computer.
Yeah. So it just depends.
I love that. Are there advantages to writing an ebook versus publishing a hard copy? Like what is your opinion on those?
All right. Well, my forte is Amazon KDP. So I can give you the benefits for Amazon KDP, but there's so many platforms. There's Ingram Spark, there's Barnes and Nobles, there's like so many places out there. So I feel like this question can be answered in so many different ways. Yeah. So I'll just talk about Amazon KDP for a second.
Yes.
The advantages to self-publishing an ebook versus a paperback, for example, would be that in KDP, there's essentially a checkbox. You can either check it or not, and it's called Kindle Select. I'm not sure if you're familiar with that, but just to talk about it very briefly, Kindle Select is a program. It's a 90-day program where Amazon gives you all these benefits of like where they help put your book out there, and you get more views from your book. You can get more downloads, more Amazon reviews, all that stuff.
Wow.
Now, I mean, there's so much more that goes into it, but then I'd be here all day. but yeah, that would be a benefit to KDP for an ebook versus a paperback. And I feel like there's so many benefits to paperback also, because there's people who love to read, like from here, and let's say my book is a workbook, so you can like write things down if you
want. I see it. Yeah, that's cool. I love it. And I was researching, and your book has great reviews, y'all. You need to check Gabriela's books, because I always research and stalk every guest that comes in the podcast, and I'm like, I mean, she is legit. And imagine, she's giving all this information for free. Imagine what she can do whenever you pay for her services.
I know. Thank you so much. You're so sweet. But yeah, it's a lot though. It's a lot of hard work, and that's
I bet. I cannot imagine.
Yeah, because I get a lot of people wanting to, for example, if we go back to the traditional versus self-publishing, a lot of authors or aspiring authors say that they want to go the traditional route, because then the publishers and those agencies are going to market the book for them. And that's not true. Like, you still have to market your own book, and with self-publishing you have to market your own book. So it goes both ways, just like in anything else. Your podcast, your YouTube, you have to market it. It's the same thing with the book. So man, it's a lot, but it's worth it.
I love it. So I love that you brought the marketing piece, because whenever I think of creating the digital course I created, my one-on-one coaching, marketing is such a huge component of every single thing you're providing as a service or product in this case. What you became a #1 bestseller in Amazon. So what is the right approach to marketing? What do you recommend if you want to be a #1 bestseller?
That I'm going to be not so detailed, because that's like a
you give the information. Yes. No worries.
But I will say that you can't be shy. You can't be shy on social media, because and I want to emphasize that, because I used to be shy. I have a personal account and I purposely have the now account that you found me on, Gabriela Mendoza Cadavid, because I was too shy to market my first book to the people I went to high school with, or friends or family. Like I was really shy, and I get so many clients who say that. So you can't be shy. You have to put yourself out there, do things like this podcast, do guest blog post. So that's what I was saying. I'm going to do a very stream. There is a way, but contact me if you want to know.
That's which way. Right. I love it. No, but I love that advice, because it applies to every single thing. Many people have this limiting belief of, I'm not enough. Who do you think I am to self-publish a book? Who do you think I am to promote my book? Right.
So exactly.
I think it's really important.
And with content, have you felt that way, through like marketing your own content?
Yeah. Even like when I finished when I pre-sold my digital course, which, by the way, pre-selling is another strategy that I've heard of, like books related, etc.
Yeah, you can pre-sell them.
Yeah. So when I pre-sold my digital course, I was like freaking out, because I feel you have to overcome this limiting belief over and over whenever you're doing something new that you have never done before. And you're just stretching the boundaries of your identity, and you're just growing. I think it's totally normal. The important part is not letting that stop you, and you move forward and push until you get there.
Exactly. I love you that you said that, because it's so true. It's so true. I've had people contact me. thinking that my job was to market their books for them because they were too shy to market it themselves and show their face. And I was like, I don't do that. But you should try. You should try.
There is a gap in the business there. Maybe someone needs to start doing that.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Okay.
Yeah.
So I love it. I had another question. Okay. So pre-selling, what is the difference between Amazon bestseller versus New York Times, like all these bestsellers categories that I see all over the place?
Yeah. So, okay. So when people say Amazon bestsellers list, there's so many categories that goes into a book. So let's say this one is a children's book, right? And this is for young adults. Each of the books have their own category. So it's kind of like, think of hashtags, you know, like it's similar to that's like the only that I can think of at the top of my head to, you know, put a similarity to it. So there could be a lot of books, number one, in their category, and it still be a bestseller, because as long as a book hits a certain number, it's considered a bestseller. I don't want to give away that number, but
no worries.
Yeah. I have my own opinions when it comes to New York bestsellers and other bestseller names. And I feel like it's not a popular opinion, but basically I know so many people. I do know people who've made the New York bestseller list. Now, I'm not giving it I'm not taking away from being a New York bestseller. I would love to be New York bestseller. Do you get what I'm saying? Like I would.
Yeah. This is your opinion. That's totally okay.
Yeah. And I do believe that people would gravitate more to reading a book that's New York bestseller, but it really doesn't do that much of a difference than an Amazon bestseller, for example, because it's giving you credibility regardless. Like it doesn't matter. Totally. I feel like the only way that it truly matters is what you do with that book, you know? So like, okay, so it's on Amazon now. It's on New York bestseller list now. It's on whatever it is. What are you going to do with it? Are you going to do speaking engagements now? Are you going to go and do podcasts like this? Are you going to show your face more? Are you going to, do you get what I'm saying? Like,
totally.
Market.
How are you going to serve? What are you going to do?
Exactly.
It's not about the recognition or the name.
I think that's what matters most. And especially for books, essentially the reason why people are writing books to begin with is because they want to either share their knowledge or share an experience or tell the unique story, whatever it is, whether it's fiction or nonfiction. So it's really important to just, as long as you're passionate about it, you know, what are you going to do with that book? How are you going to show your face? Are you going to do, you know, a story time at the public library, you know, or just sit in your house and hope that just be like, it's an Amazon bestseller list or it's on New York bestseller list, but I'm not going to do anything. It doesn't, there's no point.
It's like whenever you complete a degree and you don't use it, you know, like
exactly,
which happens often, just saying
all the time.
Your book to do that.
Yeah, it's funny you brought that up because my book actually talks about that. How like we're not here to talk about my book, but just really quick, like I don't believe that a degree is everything. I feel like there's so many different ways that you can gain knowledge.
Totally. I mean, and when you look at your story and my story, I studied chemical engineering, you know, and I ended up being a mindset and clarity coach. So I think you have the opportunity to rewrite your story based on the learnings and the lessons you get with life. And that's totally okay, you know?
Yeah, no, for sure.
So what are the top two reasons, the top one reason for people that want to write their book? And why do you think everyone should write a book? I'm interested to hear that.
So I always get two answers for that. And now this is based off of my research, market research that I do with people, you know, with my audience. And that's number one, they have a story to tell. They just want to let's say they had just something that happened in their lives, you know, whether it's traumatic, whether it's not, but they feel like they really want to help someone with their unique story, which I love. So that's what they want to do. You know, they have a story to tell and they want to tell it. And the second reason is knowledge. So let's say an entrepreneur or anyone really who has knowledge for anything wants to express that and wants to teach people what they know, whether it's a self-help book or I don't know how to garden and plants.
Yeah, whatever you want.
Anything, literally anything. So I would say those would be the top two reasons. For it would be just to, because they're passionate about something, express like their own experiences and hopefully help other people, and also for knowledge.
I love it. And the next
other one, yeah.
Why do you think everyone should write a book, or why everyone has a book in them, right? That's another way to put it.
So I think that everyone has a story. I think it's very fascinating. And I don't know, I would say that I'm a really corny person in the sense.
Oh my God, girl, we are together here because I'm super corny.
Yeah, in the sense that, I'll be walking my dog and I'll just look at people and I'll be like, I wonder what their story is. Like, I don't know, like everyone, whatever it is, like, it's just so fascinating to me. So I do believe that whether it's big or small, wherever you came from, like whatever happened, everyone has a story to tell and people can benefit from it. Yeah, I do believe that someone can learn from your experiences, from your knowledge, and why keep that in? Why not like express it? And so in today's world, there's so many forms that people learn through podcasts. For example, they learn like visually, like through auditory. Now we have Instagram Reels, we have YouTube long videos, we have blogs, and we have books. Books is just another way to get your content out there. And one of the best things about books is that it's a long time shelf life, especially if it's online. My books are always going to be online now. And that's the crazy thing, like unless Amazon decides to die. Well, that's not true because my books aren't other websites, other platforms, because my books aren't in Graham Spark and it's in Barnes and Nobles too. But my point is that, like, let's say the internet like world died, then I guess it wouldn't be a long shelf life. But there's so many forms to put it: local bookstores, libraries, and all that stuff. And yeah, it's just another form of content. And I do believe that people should tell their own story.
I love it. Books, I feel they're like email, it's super ancient, but it's so functional and so meaningful that they'll always be there. Yeah. It doesn't matter what.
Yeah. And like I said, people retain information in so many different ways. There's people who genuinely love, laying in bed and reading a good book.
That's me. And like I need to have the hard copy. Yeah.
Yes. And there's people who just don't have the time and they're in their car and they're listening to the audio, and there's people who, that's more like me lately. There's people like my boyfriend, for example, who does not like to read and he has a short attention span and wants to read articles. So there's so many different ways that people can retain information. And I think they're all great. I think they all have their own like usage.
Yeah, I love that. And have you ever considered, and maybe you have done this, putting your books in Audible? Like what is your thought around that?
Yes, I'm actually going through that right now.
Oh my God. Yes. Oh my God. Okay, I'm so excited. Yeah. Whenever you do it, let me know. I'll post it in my social media and promote it.
Thank you so much. Yeah, I am talking to someone who's doing it for me. I'm not narrating it because I mess up way too much. I tried it the first time. I was like,
you're so funny. Well, you're doing amazing here.
Yeah. So I did hire a lovely lady who's helping me, and she's going to narrate my book. And we're going through that right now. I've been editing it, do the revisions and all that stuff. So hopefully in a month or two, but we'll see.
What I love about you, honestly, is that you go all in, you follow through, you experiment, which I think is so important for your coaching clients, when they're...
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. I feel like I do it for two reasons. Yeah. I do it for myself, yes, but I do it for my clients more. Yeah. Because I want them to get the most out of me. I want them to get, like, I want to give the best value and the most value I can out there, especially with my digital course and my one-on-one. So, if I have a client asking me a question, I'm going to be honest. If I don't know, I'm going to be like, I'm so sorry, I don't know it, but give me some time. Let me research and I'll let you know. But why not go out and grow and learn, why not learn how to do Audible? Why not learn how to like self-publish in other places other than KDP? Because what if someone had a question? I know how to do it. Like, I can help you. So yeah, I do it for my clients. Now, I don't have a course on how to do Audible or how to do,
in the future, maybe.
Yeah, in the future, exactly. Because I do believe that I want to make sure I'm confident in what I'm doing and then teach it. But but I'm sure you do that as well. You know, like you
Yeah,
learn
totally.
for your benefit, but also for your clients.
Exactly. I mean, I feel our focus is always serving, you know, and that's what drives us, and that's the vision that pulls us in those days that we don't feel like it, you know, and we
Yeah.
just keep moving forward and pushing through.
Yes.
So, as you know, I'm a mindset and clarity coach, and I truly believe that 80% of everything is mindset. So,
Mindset.
yes, and I bet whenever you're writing a book, it's kind of an emotional process that you go through too. Would you
Yeah.
agree?
Yeah. No, so I agree with you. And I love that you said that, because my first module is on mindset.
I love it because it's important. It's the enabler
Yes,
for
it is
everything else.
important. There's so much like imposter syndrome. There's so many limiting beliefs, and that we definitely have to like double down on that and debunk it and all that stuff. And yeah, you know, there's moments where I'm just like, I know, like,
Yeah, I'm done.
like,
I'm done. We all have those moments.
yeah, or I just need a break, or I don't, or you know, I only did this for a year. Who am I to sit talk? You know, I get more imposter syndrome as an author than I
Yeah,
do as a coach.
totally.
I don't know if that sounds weird, but I guess like, I mean, props to me. Like, I'm proud of myself because I don't get a lot of imposter syndrome as a coach. I feel very confident in what I teach, and I know what I teach, and I'm good with that. But as an author, like, to write a book like this was my first book that I wrote for young adults. So my imposter syndrome went off the roof because I just turned, like, I'm in my early 30s, you know? So this book is about 20s. So my imposter syndrome started with like, why the heck am I writing a book about like my 20s? I literally lived it yesterday. Like, do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah,
So,
totally.
and then, you know, the chapters that go within it, and it's like, but who's to say I'm not a relationship coach, or I didn't get this degree, or I didn't, you know, so it definitely like gets to me. But I feel like that's only natural, and I'll let it sink in. I'll have my moments, you know, I'll watch TV, or I'll play Xbox, I'll wind down, do whatever I have to do, and then I'll get back to it.
I mean, I think with any type of product, you know, I do one-on-one coaching, etc. And I feel we are more in the zone, but when you put a product out there for the whole world to see at the same time, I do believe it's such a vulnerable
Yeah.
process and act that I went to a fashion show the other day, and this is not related to a fashion show, but as those people were going through that, I don't know, that piece of it was like a haul. I was thinking in my mind, wow, this is such a moment of vulnerability for whoever created these pieces. Because there you have hundreds of people just looking at the same piece as they are going through and just noticing every detail, you know? And I feel with a book or even a digital course, it's the same thing in a way, you know?
I
It's like,
know it's
yeah,
nerve-wracking. No, yeah,
yeah,
it's like, oh my God, I can't believe people are gonna read my words. Like, this is because that's something else that I struggle with, judgment. I
yeah,
struggle with
yeah,
judgment a lot. So I was always nervous, like, what if this person reads this, or what if I don't know, what ifs, like so many what ifs. And at the end of the day, I just had to, like, you know, talk to my parents or talk to someone, because that's really like my therapeutic. I used to see, like, I'm all for like therapy, but right now I'm not seeing a therapist. So I guess my therapists are like my close friends and family.
yeah, yeah,
And
totally.
I was like, Gabi, like, it doesn't matter. Like, just, it doesn't matter. Like, you know, whatever. People are going to judge at the end of the day. Like some people who you don't know will judge. And I mean, that's just the honest truth. So it's more like, I just need to get my head out of that when I'm writing.
Yeah, I love that. I've heard, and I have one more question. I heard of writer's block. Is that a thing? I've heard both sides of the story. Some people are like, that's not a thing, that's a thing. So, what are your thoughts on the writer's
Yeah.
block that I hear
No,
about?
I don't believe in it.
I'm like, I don't know what that means, but apparently it's a thing that happens.
Yeah, no, here's my, this is what I say about it. And it's funny because I'm actually like, my YouTube channel, it's gonna, like, that, for that video for that is gonna launch soon, so I'm really excited about that.
I love
But
it.
it is a really popular topic with authors, and it's very like, either you do or you don't. And here's my response to that: I don't care, and it doesn't
Yeah.
matter. Like, I don't care if people believe in it, and I don't care if people do. What matters is what you do with it. Like, what matters essentially, if writer's block was a thing, what is it? You're stuck. You're basically
Yeah,
stuck. Okay.
exactly. Yeah,
So
yeah.
So who cares what it is? Just what are you going to do when you feel stuck? That's what I care most about. And that's what I teach my clients. Like whenever you feel like you're feeling stuck, don't take more than a 1 week break. No more than a 1 week break, because I know people who go through writer's block and they don't write for years. And their manuscripts is just sitting in their computer or sitting in their notepad. And that doesn't help anything. So I always say, don't go more than a week for a break. And when you're stuck and you need a break, just do something that you love to do, whether it's going out with your friends or reading or writing, but like something that you want to, something completely different, or playing Xbox or going to the gym or traveling. I don't know, whatever it is, like just do something that you like to do. And when you're ready, come back to it.
Yeah. Write about your blog. Why are you blocked? Write something.
Sure. Yeah. Why not? Yeah. I know people have so many different strategies. I just know that that's what's helped me. And I guess that's just my response to your question, because there's so many, I don't know. I think essentially it's what you believe in, right? What you believe in. Yeah. So when I hear people, I won't lie. When I hear people say like, I have writer's block, I can't help but cringe. I'm like, ugh.
Here they come again. Oh my God.
Here we go again. Yeah. But I just need to keep myself composed, and because I don't want to, if they believe in it, then I have to respect that.
Then it's true for them. That's the thing.
Exactly. Exactly. Them. So it's all good.
I love it. I'm so excited. I feel I've learned so much.
I'm so glad.
Yeah, so I hope with this interview, people get inspired to write more about their stories, because I agree with you. Everyone has a story to tell. And a lot of times imposter syndrome is the one avoiding us to take action in order to do that.
Yes. When were you thinking about writing your book?
Oh my God. I have many ideas like you, my friend. I'm like, oh my God.
You're like, prioritize one.
I have a really good life story full of learnings. I was born in Cuba, and then we moved to Mexico, and then my mom and I ran away and we hid for 6 months. It's just like a crazy story. Yeah. But I say it normal, like it's nothing, because that's, how it happens.
I'm sure it's not. Yeah, I'm sure it's serious.
We hid for 6 months. No big issue. Like you have said it so many times that for you it's nothing big or anything. Yeah. But I have such an inspiring story, mainly my mom as a role model. So in whatever I write, I want to incorporate, of course, all of my life lessons and stories. One may be about rewriting your story, about giving yourself permission to rewrite your story, about the past doesn't define your future. It's something profound, deep, because I'm like deep and cheesy, and I love all these stories.
Corny.
Super corny, as my fiance. Seriously. So something like that, really. And I'm all about purpose, intention, fulfillment. So, something related to that. And my mom has 56, so I want to really talk more with her and extract the information that maybe I don't remember. Like it would be a nice thing.
Sure. And that's research, by the way.
Oh my God, I love it. And she loves talking just as me. And so I'm sure she would love it. I'm like, Mom, we get to spend hours together talking.
She's like, yes, con mi hija.
Sometimes, she lives with my fiance and I, and sometimes she's like, you guys are so busy. You know how moms are. And I'm like, I need to prioritize writing this book so we can talk more about everything.
I think could be so great. And it's gonna, just with your community and like the Latinas and the immigration and all that stuff, I think it would be really, really good.
I know, I'm excited. I'm like, honestly, I told my fiance, baby, within the next year, I'm going to make this happen. Because I'm like you, I get many ideas and then I start execute. And I want to make sure I'm intentional, because it's so easy to fall into a trap of branching out, doing many things.
Oh my God, yes, that happens all the time. Like I'm on the go, and I'm like, wait, no, like I need to stop, focus on what I am doing, and like little by little. Because if not, I get excited and I'm like, I want to do this, I want to do that, I want to do that.
Literally, I told, like, there are two ladies that I meet with, and I told them I need to put in a slide in PowerPoint all of the pillars of my business, because I'm public speaking, I'm doing one-on-one coaching, I'm doing digital course, I'm doing like all these things, and I'm like, okay, I gotta be intentional, because I mean, I love serving. I have the podcast. I love serving, and we are also running a business, right? So you gotta have a really fine balance between these
Yeah.
things if you want to be here in the long term.
Yeah.
So yeah, but I truly believe writing a book is calling me, and something that I've learned over the years is to trust that voice. And if it keeps repeating in your head, like if it's keep coming up, I truly believe there is a purpose for it.
Yeah. Definitely trust your instinct.
Trust
You
your
know,
gut.
contact when you're ready, and I'll definitely help you out.
Yes, I'm telling you here, and I've told you since I met you, I love your content. So I want our listeners to follow you. Where they can find you, just give us all the information.
It's really simple, really. It's just the Instagram at Gabriela M Cadavid, and that's Gabriela M. Cadavid is Cadavid.
I love it.
Pretty much it. That's where I have everything there. Like the link in my bio, everything is there. You'll see my YouTube there and everything.
Perfect. Gabriela, I am so grateful. I'm so excited that we got to share this beautiful time together. I learned so much, and my friend, I'm going to be reaching out whenever I'm ready.
Thank you. No, thank you so much for having me on your podcast. I was looking forward to this. I know we've spoken for a while now, and I was anticipating it. So thank you so much. And I just looking forward to like continuing our friendship. So,
yes, I'm excited. Yeah. I hope all of you really enjoy this episode. Go follow Gabriela. I'm always so, I love what you post on social media, on YouTube. She has many things. Oh my God, you need to follow her. So we'll see you next week. Yeah. Bye-bye.
Yes. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you so much for listening at With Clarity and Purpose. I really hope you enjoyed today's episode. Sharing is caring. Please share with your friends and family so we can continue building an empowered community together. I'll see you next week.